Well, next let's speak to Professor Federico Giorgi, a senior researcher at the University of Bologna's Department of Biotechnology. He's been studying the sequencing of the virus mutations and mapping the spread of these variations around the world. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Tell us your analysis of what's happening in the UK with this variant.
So actually, we did discover and notice this variant, as you said, in September. So back then, it was only detectable in 15 patients out of the 65,000 that were sequenced in the UK. So I must say thank you, because the UK, I don't know if you said that, but let's stress it, is doing the biggest effort in the world at the moment in sequencing the virus. So possibly this variant was detected in the UK just because you sequence a lot more. Other two countries where it was present in September were the United States and Australia, which are second and third respectively in the rankings of most sequencing done. And this variant, we noticed it because it's the first variant that rises in frequency that hits the binding domain between the spike protein, the viral protein that's on the surface, and the human ACE2 receptor. So it hits directly the lock and key mechanism that allows the virus to enter the bronchial and lung cells, and therefore it's the most important mechanism of the viral cycle, let's say, because without it the virus couldn't even infect humans. So back then we didn't raise any alarm because it was one of the many possible mutations, and we also noticed that it doesn't change the whole shape of spike, this protein. So it just changes the little portion of interaction in one single amino acid, one out of 1,250. So back then we knew already that it wouldn't have affected the efficacy of a future vaccine, and we still think it won't, but it can affect the interaction strength with the human receptor, and therefore this can be translated in an increase of efficiency and infectivity. However, there is no indication, molecularly speaking or chemically speaking, to say that this mutation can increase the symptoms or worsen the prognosis. So yeah, we are still monitoring it. And now, well, in my country, it's still undetectable. As of yesterday evening, we did detect the first one. And the rest of Europe, yes, is still lagging behind, and not maybe in the frequency of this mutation, but in the amount of viruses that are being sequenced at the moment. So, yeah.
And when you look at the situation in the UK and what's happening with this mutation, can it inform how you assess the risk and the danger from other mutations? Does it help you understand where the risk is?
Yes, essentially every mutation falls in a specific position of the viral proteins. So we can classify them in more or less dangerous potentially. The most frequent mutation now in the world is also on spike, on the amino acid 614. This 614G for people that have been following this. But essentially it's very frequent, but it doesn't change at all the mechanism of the virus, because it's not located in a position that is interacting with the human protein. So in other words, what we should do is keep sequencing, and every new mutation, we shouldn't raise any alarm. And viruses mutate every day. This virus mutates half. It has a rate of mutation that is half that of the influenza virus, so like 25 mutations per year. Essentially, we shouldn't be alarmed by any new mutation, but we should check if it could hit specifically a position of that can be potentially changing the interaction with the human host. So the focus must remain on spike, also because it's the protein against which vaccines are designed. So yeah. If a variant collects many of these mutations, we should change possibly, but in the next years or so, the vaccines. And also, another important thing, the diagnostic kits, they are based on molecular tests. Those need to be adjourned, updated every day or every month, let's say, following the WHO indications. Rightly, because any mutation can change the accuracy of these tests, even silent mutations.
Thank you very much indeed. How useful. That's Professor Giorgi live with us from Bologna, explaining not just the immediate impact of this mutation, but how it impacts policy and strategy going into the next few months and years. Well, I've got some better news for you on the vaccine, because the European Union's medicine regulator, the EMA, has approved the use of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. That means Germany, France, Austria and Italy are all saying they plan to start vaccinations from Sunday. Anna Holligan was listening to the EMA announcement, which was made in Amsterdam. Hi, Anna. Good to speak to you. Tell us more about